Let's cross now to the sports corner, perhaps a sports political intersection. It's always connected, right? Make golf great again. Why former U.S. President and potential presidential hopeful Donald Trump backs the Saudi-funded Live Golf Series, and why is that even a problem? I-24 News senior U.S. correspondent Mike Wagenheim is joining us now from our New York studios. Hey, Mike. So first things first, Mike is with us. I hope he is. Yeah, so for us non-golfers, what is the Live Series and what does it have to do with 9/11?
Well, you know, there's been a union of 9/11 families who had relatives killed in the attacks on 9/11 who have been calling for years now. It's not just this golf tournament, for years now, for the U.S. to distance itself, to disassociate itself to the greatest extent possible from Saudi Arabia, and for the United States government to release as much as they possibly can, essentially everything, declassify everything related to the Saudi involvement in the 9/11 attacks. This group is led by a woman named Terry Strada, a New Jerseyite, who lost her husband in 9/11. They are upset not only with Joe Biden's visit to Saudi Arabia, this is Democrat, Republican, everything in between, but now upset as well with former President Donald Trump for hosting this golf tournament. Why? Because it is led by a Saudi effort, a Saudi investment. This new golf league called the Live Tour, which is competing with the PGA Tour, is sponsoring events throughout the country, throughout the world. Critics, like the 9/11 group, say it's an attempt by the Saudis to essentially burnish their image, to whitewash their human rights violations by sponsoring this glitzy golf tournament, which is doling out tens of millions of dollars to the top names in golf. They've left the PGA Tour to compete on this particular tour, and Donald Trump's Bedminster Country Club in New Jersey, just 50 miles away from Ground Zero, about an hour's drive, is hosting a Live Golf Tour event this weekend. The 9/11 family say it's an affront to their relatives' memory.
But Mike, excuse me for asking, is there no double standard here of sorts? Biden's meeting with MBS is fine, but Trump golfing with the golf is not?
No, in fact, it's the exact opposite, Ellie. These families went after Biden for meeting with MBS to begin with, and I actually spoke with Terry Strada, the leader of this organization, about 4 or 5 months ago when the Biden administration said they were going to open up the archives, open up the documents. They never really did and declassify much of anything, but they said they were going to in terms of Saudi involvement with 9/11. She said it goes back decades to Bush, to Clinton, not Clinton, to Bush, Obama, to the second Bush, to Trump. She said Democrats, Republicans, they're both at fault for having too cozy a relationship with the Saudi government. She said it's everybody's fault. It's not a left or right issue, and there is no double standard, she said, in terms of this group's view on U.S. involvement with Saudi Arabia.
Well, Mike, he never really left the public eye, not your typical wallflower, but it seems Trump is seeking more attention recently. How do you connect the dots here? Or in other words, how does golf help his potential future presidential run?
Well, it's really interesting because he's tied in both ways on this. Number one, of course, he had a notably cozy relationship with Saudi Arabia, and he's come out and said that the Saudis, have changed their ways, essentially, that the Khashoggi issue has kind of died down. He said nobody's really asked him about that in months, and he's all in favor of the Saudis financing and bankrolling this tournament. On the other hand, he has a gripe with the PGA tournament, which is at odds with the Live tournament, because the PGA tournament was supposed to hold a championship event at Trump's golf course, and what happened? The January 6th insurrection happened. A couple days later, the PGA Tour canceled that prestigious event at Trump's club, and Donald Trump is nothing if not one to hold a grudge. So he's certainly in favor of the PGA Tour suffering in any matter, especially now with a very wealthy competitor knocking on their door.